very high expectations going into this just because of like the critical acclaim it's received.
Yeah.
I mean, people telling me about this film that like it's a masterpiece. I'm like, oh, so crazy.
Yeah.
One of the best films of the year.
Yeah.
And I can't say it's bad. I do like it, but I do not think it's a masterpiece, and that's because I feel like a lot of the first half is quite flawed, mainly when it comes to the exposition. I found.
Okay, like the first, because it's kind of separated.
Yeah,
and I'd say maybe like the first half an hour, 45 minutes or something. There's a lot of setup.
Yeah, sorry, was you set up? That's the word.
Would you say that it just didn't do it very well? Like it didn't intrigue you enough to kind of be captivated from the start?
It's not that I wasn't intrigued, but I think they spent a little too much time setting it up.
Right.
When really we should have been like getting into the nitty gritty with like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, you just wanted to see Leo straight away, right?
And I will say, once it kicked into gear, and we got into like everything within that second half, fantastic. I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of merit to this film. Like I will not say it's bad. It's not a bad film at all.
It sounds like you definitely aren't on board with what, a lot of people are saying, which is just like, oh my God, it's insane. Like you were saying, like people are so...
not quite.
Ecstatic about it, saying it's how excellent it is. It's a masterpiece. Yeah. I agree. Unfortunately, I agree. I came out of the movie... I'm really conflicted, actually. I was kind of confused. I was thinking to myself, do I think this is an excellent movie, or is it just maybe parts of it that I really enjoyed? And that's what I think. I think as a movie in its entirety, I do think it's quite flawed. And funny you said that about the beginning part, the setup. I didn't really have a major issue with that because look, it's like a 3-hour long movie, or 2 hours, 45 minutes. These movies are going to take time, but I understand that it definitely kicks into gear at a certain point in the movie when you start to follow Leo's character. Having said that, I do think Tiana Taylor, her character, I do think she plays it very well. And then obviously just more things start to happen and unravel, and you start to things click into place. So it's definitely not one that just straight away. It's weird that we say that though, because it's not like that. It's it doesn't shy away from some quite strong action sequences.
Oh, absolutely. From the get-go. And I will say, given the fact that PTA is not an action director.
Yeah,
he comes from the world of indie cinema. He's very much a classic auteur.
Yeah,
I was very impressed by the action. Fantastic action sequences. And I don't know. I just wasn't sure how he was going to pull that off.
He's always brilliant at directing. Yeah, he's just always knows where to fucking put the camera.
Yeah.
So there was no issue in terms of directing.
Oh, absolutely not.
Flawlessly.
And also having this shot in this division, which I'm glad that after the Brutalist it's making a comeback. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
So beautiful. I mean, those wide shots, especially towards the second half in the desert.
Yeah. There's parts of this movie that I actually think are excellent, astounding, so much of the action sequences and a lot of how all of the different plot lines are kind of interweaving together, and it's bouncing back and forth between characters, and just the momentum that comes along with that, and the riot scenes and all of that stuff. I think
that was great. See,
and there are some comedic moments which I think worked really well.
I think especially between Leo and Benicio, I just loved seeing the two of them together. Those were my favorite parts of the film. And it really made me want to see a spin-off just with those. I loved it with just those two characters.
What I don't like about this movie is how cartoonish it is. It's very I think it's very silly, and that's something that kind of...
I think probably by design, which you're obviously...
Yeah, of course.
You can show that tell. That maybe doesn't matter, but...
You can definitely tell, but maybe something... It's just... Maybe it's something to do with the runtime. I felt like it needed a little bit more substance to kind of win me over and to kind of justify that. If it's going to be 2 hours and 45 minutes, I just would expect a little bit more of a kind of... Just a kind of deeper, closer look to actually what they're discussing. A lot of people have mentioned the political aspect of it. And I mean, I don't necessarily think that takes the forefront of the movie.
No, I don't think he's making a specific point, and people can read into it whichever way they want.
Yeah, a lot of people say
it's more kind of the context and the set dressing of the story.
Yes, I agree. I agree with you.
That it's a group of revolutionaries. It's not the important.
No, I don't think so.
Of it,
it's people were saying like, oh, if you're a Republican, you're going to hate this movie. If you're a Democrat, you're going to love it. It's not as black and white as that. Like it's, you know, it doesn't take the forefront. It's not necessarily trying to persuade you in any way. It's just like you said, it's just the foundations of the story. So that wasn't an issue. It was just the fact that, you know, and we've got to talk about Sean Penn. In particular, I thought Sean Penn's character was just so cartoonish.
So weird.
Very weird.
Weird guy.
Just very over the top and very over exaggerated.
I mean, he committed to that performance.
Yeah.
My God, the guy is just like going full throttle.
He's playing basically just this extreme white supremacist, their villain character, and it works for the most part.
I mean, a bit of a cartoon villain.
Yeah, he's a cartoon villain.
Very exaggerated.
But pretty much every villain in this film are cartoon characters, really, in my opinion. And I just felt like perhaps it was just the fact that it was called Thomas Anderson and just the way it was presented. It just seemed like it was in conflict with itself in terms of how real that it wanted to present.
Do you think also people maybe have a certain expectation because it's PTA and it's so revered?
And look, no matter what, and like I agree with you that the political aspect of it isn't the main point of the movie. But if you are going to have a movie that has the political aspects in it, people are inevitably going to talk about it.
Oh, of course. They'll bring their own political views to it. They'll take what they want to take. So, like, that's unavoidable.
And what I didn't like about the ending, basically, was just the fact that it just felt sickly sweet.
Sappy.
It felt so sappy.
Very sappy.
Compared to the rest of it, which was very extreme and very intense. And it wasn't like overly manipulative in the sense of the music. So that's something I want to point out. I think the music and
Johnny Greenwood fucking cooked with this.
The score is fantastic.
So good.
I love the little piano, like the little tunes that are playing when people are getting chased and running around.
Such like a unique atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how you know you've got someone like PTA behind the camera. Any other director wouldn't have such a weird score.
Yeah. No, I definitely dug that. But however, I didn't like the music at the end. I felt like that really took away from it because it was just
quite manipulative.
Yeah, it was manipulative. It was like playing it so straight the whole time. Yeah. And towards the end, it was like, everything's just fine now. And everything's just happy, and that's the end.
And also the fact that like Tiana Taylor's character is still an awful person.
Yeah.
And it's like he gives her this loud, like DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And this is meant to right the wrongs. Oh, you abandoned your child, but you wrote her this one letter.
Yeah.
So, we're meant to feel happy.
But no, I don't.
Sense of resolution there. Absolutely not.
That's something I didn't like.
And it's just weird because PTA is known for his very nuanced or like quite depressing endings. Especially like There Will Be Blood. My God, that's one of the greatest endings of all time.
Yeah.
It's like simplicity and how much you can take from it. So I feel like it's very unusual for him to have such kind of a happy ending.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing with like Sean Penn somehow surviving the car crash. And that's another thing I'd like to get onto because obviously like he ends up like being like murdered by that secret society.
Yeah.
That just goes to one of like the problems I had, particularly with the first half. It focuses a lot on them, on the secret society. And I just didn't find that very interesting. I really do not care about the inner workings of the FBI, that they're trying to take down Sean Penn.
Yeah.
That just didn't grab me. That's why I was struggling with the first half.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with that. I thought it was quite interesting to see the underground,
society.
Hidden society. Yeah, I know these people, controlling things behind the scenes. I thought that was quite interesting, and actually, it did pay off towards the end because you see obviously what happens to Sean Penn. But I didn't really.
I think it wasn't needed.
There was nothing much to me that I felt like, oh, this needs to be taken out. I didn't feel like it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. I did enjoy it. I didn't feel like it was boring. I felt like I was constantly entertained and wanting to know what was going to happen. And yeah, it really goes to show how the power of an ending, I mean, that's the conclusion that you're coming to, right?
It can make or break anything.
And really, if it did have some kind of maybe just a little bit more ambiguity in the ending, or maybe just a little bit more of a bittersweet feeling, it would have really changed my opinion on it because I was really digging it towards the end.
It did feel strange that you kind of like wrapped it up in a neat.
Yeah, it was too neat. It just it just didn't feel right. It just, it was too nice and happy for me.
Yeah.
I needed something more.
Which is just so strange, given how like kind of strange and like just weird this film is.
Because it's weird because you obviously that like Leonardo DiCaprio's character Bob Ferguson. He's not a nice guy. He's a very flawed character. That's why we love him.
And I mean, none of them are like,
None of them are. It's weird, right? There's a lot of films these days that just have shit characters throughout the whole thing. Like, none of them are likable.
Yeah.
It's weird. But, like, obviously we're following him, so we want the best for him, and we want the best for his daughter. It felt like we were following the heroes of a story. Forgot that they're actually very flawed.
I mean, we're kind of justifying it by the fact that, he cares for his daughter.
Yeah, but that's not everything.
Exactly.
That's maybe what I wanted. Like, of course he cares for his daughter.
Fine.
But where are the repercussions for his actions? Like that I need to see that too.
Absolutely.
It just didn't kind of fit into place for me at the end. But having said that, I mean, particularly the car chase scene.
Oh, that's one of my favorite scenes of the year.
Yeah.
And that's just an example of how great VistaVision is. Like, the way in which he shot those roads as well. Like, when it would cut from the car to the road, showing you how, like, kind of treacherous these highways are, like, in the, like, in the Mexican border and, like, the American desert, that kind of thing. I love that so much. Yeah, and it added to kind of, like, the epic nature of it.
Yeah.
Because this is quite, it's quite an epic
It is an epic movie,
Big epic movie.
So I think it's mainly just to do with the fact that so many people were going crazy about it. And I did weirdly have a feeling at the beginning that I was like, look, let me judge it for myself. I'm not gonna, I know that's what everyone thinks, right? But it's just like, I have a feeling that I'm not gonna love it perhaps as much as people were making out, saying that it's 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I do think it's majorly flawed, but when it shines, it shines.
It's excellent.
And it is excellent.
Yeah.
And I do think that it is a very entertaining 3-hour-long movie.
Yeah.
And the action sequences are very well directed and enjoyable. And there are moments that I was on the edge of my seat and could not look away. So I don't want to take away from that. There was definitely a lot of good things about this movie.
No, and we should be so thankful for the fact that this film exists. Please God, it makes a shit ton of money. So keep funding, original studio films.
Yeah, I mean, it's all thanks to Leo being
exactly. Right? I will say that does help. Have DiCaprio there.
It's just so fucking watchable, man. Like you said, you just wanted to see what his character was doing, and he obviously played it very well. He plays it
brilliantly.
But let's read some reviews and see what people have to say.
The worst film I have seen this year, almost as bad as last year's much celebrated Turkey Emilia Perez. Whoa, too far.
Yeah.
Do not put it on the same level as bloody Emilia Perez.
Yeah.
This is why people could not care less about Hollywood. This movie reflects the cynical, soulless ghouls that inhabit the morally askew hellscape. They can call the director and auteur. That's just a euphemism in Hollywood for someone who failed to tell a good story.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, loaded. It's a loaded review.
I mean, something I will say about that is that it is a cynical movie, and it is very, I'd say it's quite black and white. The villains are very much the villains, and the heroes are very much the heroes, even though the heroes are...
Okay, it's interesting you say that.
I think it very much paints this is what I'm saying. It paints the white supremacist secret societies as very, very...
It's just much matter of fact Saturday morning cartoon. These are the villains.
Yeah, there's no nuance.
Say real life isn't like that, but obviously people,
there's
complex.
There's no nuance. There's not much multifaceted.
It's really interesting that you say that. I mean, do you feel that it's maybe because it's PTA, and this is no slight on him at all, people are possibly overlooking the fact that like the morality is quite simple and streamlined because it is a Paul Thomas Anderson film. He's known for creating very complex characters. So would you say because it's just interesting that you say it's cynical when it's coming from like the least cynical filmmaker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's very niche film.
Yeah.
And this is like the biggest thing he's done. Mm-hmm. So I just find it's
because you said it was loosely based on a book, right?
Oh, it's inspired by a book. I think like it used the bare bones of like this Thomas Pynchon.
Yeah, that could very well be the case, but I feel like if it was any other director, I'd be saying the same thing, because that's something that stuck out to me, and that's something that I didn't enjoy. I just wanted to go a little bit deeper into the moral complexity of the actual situations and the characters. It didn't really wasn't particularly interested in showing any nuance at all.
No, but I don't find it cynical in terms of the filmmaking. That's where I'll disagree.
No, not the
just the way the artistic integrity of it.
Yeah,
so I can
I
disagree.
But it was just more I'd say
the story,
characters.
Yeah.
Like you'd say, perhaps like for a James Bond movie, for example, the villains are very much just villains.
But then at the same time, we all love that because that's a classic part of
So if you want to go and see that movie, But I think the real issue with the fact that the villains are presented the way they are in this movie is because I was not on the side of the revolutionists and the revolutionaries and Leo's character.
Sean Penn is, of course, he's an evil bastard. Anyone with a brain can see that he's a detestable character.
Yeah.
But then you look at what the mother did.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really want you to succeed.
No, I don't.
You're terrible.
Yeah.
You're awful.
So I was just like, who exactly am I rooting for here? Apart from maybe the daughter. I don't know. I actually created an account so I could review this movie in the hopes of saving just one person from sitting through it and wasting 3 hours of their life. From the nonsensical time frame to the ham-fisted political overtones to extremely stupid ending. This went from just being a bad movie to perhaps the worst one I've ever seen. The only high point was a Steely Dan song in the soundtrack. Just listen to Dirty Work on Amazon Music and save yourself the time, money, and annoyance.
That is a banger, by the way.
Yeah.
Dirty Work is an absolute truth.
It's so funny how people can just be so fucking hyperbolic. Like, why can't you just,
Yeah.
Like, this is the worst movie you ever seen.
That's just
talking
nonsense.
about?
I'm sorry.
What are you on about?
Again, watch more films, man. Again, it's like when people say Saltburn is like the greatest film they've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, man. But I will say that it's got a stupid ending. I'll agree with that. Overhyped reviews. To be honest, the music destroys it. I don't know who chose the soundtrack, but everyone knows music makes or breaks a movie. And here it is just so not fitting. Yeah, that's so interesting because, we were both saying how fantastic it is.
Yeah.
The music is really one of the shining points.
Yeah, no, it really that's what gives the film its personality.
Yes,
I think if it had a more conventional score, I probably would have hated that.
Yeah.
'Cause it would have actually taken away from the how weird the tone was.
Yeah, because you often find in those kind of action movies that
the music
can be so generic.
Yeah, like sometimes it's literally just white noise along the side.
Yeah. Also, the power female roles are getting a little bit tiring, especially the first 30 minutes of the movie. And it's got a very erotic movie as well.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. I didn't
5 minutes in, you're watching Sean Penn wanking in a car.
Yeah, I didn't know PTA was this horny. I mean, maybe that is strange to say because he did make Boogie Nights, which is about the porn industry. But even I was surprised when this started.
It's just you just didn't really expect it.
Yeah.
Else, the movie is well done. Leo, Sean, and Benico are just so amazing. Nice to see them together. Movie is entertaining, but definitely not an 8.6. Let's be honest.
I'd agree with that, definitely.
Very overrated. This is a 5 out of 10 from Sanhan Dan email. This film has not received a single negative review from anybody. Well, that's not true. While it is being hailed as PTA's best film ever, that is far from the truth. How would you compare this to There Will Be Blood?
Oh, There Will Be Blood is much better.
Yeah.
There Will Be Blood, I think, that's a perfect film.
Really?
No flaws.
That's a masterpiece.
Masterpiece, absolutely, yeah. And also, it just shows how, morally complex he can be, which is why it is frustrating, having just discussed this with you, how black and white the morality is. Because he's so good at, giving us these very complicated, flawed, endearing characters. I mean, I haven't seen The Master, but that's quite morally complex film, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, how would you compare it to The Master? Do you?
I just like the subtlety of The Master more.
Yeah.
I liked that. But having said that, I enjoyed the action sequences. It says you take what you want from different movies. I guess. Enjoy the nuance of his other movies and enjoy the action.
How amazing the action is.
Yeah, but and then it would just it's nice when it links together a little bit more. You can have a movie that does both. You can have a movie that is an action movie, and also full of nuance and multifaceted characters, which is I think was what was lacking from this movie. I found everything in the film to be average across the board. Nothing was excellent. So I disagree there. I do think, from going back again and again, the action, a lot of it was excellent. The cinematography was excellent. I'll say that the soundtrack was horrible. Someone else did not like the soundtrack. I suppose maybe it's like Marmite. It's like black and white. Some people don't like it. The film could have been 10 times better with the proper background music. Oscar worthy? I don't know.
Couldn't do that one. No effort to develop emotional tissue by the Elliot Spence.
I grew up inspired by Paul Thomas Anderson's work as Hard Eight, Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and Punch Drunk Love. They all had plenty of style and substance, wonderfully constructed together. The interwoven nature of story and earned emotional connection to characters was effortless. It is so disappointing to spend 2.5 hours of my time watching a string of overlong scenes that have very little happening in them, or reason to be engaged when the characters themselves have been written in such a shallow way that I care very little, if at all, for any of them. I kind of understand that. I wouldn't say I agree fully, because I did care, but I actually kind of understand that. I do think the characters are shallow, and I didn't care maybe as much as I kind of wanted to.
Yeah, it's like we're endeared to Leo. Because he's Leonardo DiCaprio and he's just so effortless.
Yeah.
And so Benicio del Toro, they're so charismatic and their chemistry is like off the charts.
Yeah.
But I think it's very different being endeared to a character than actually liking them. And again, a lot of that obviously it just has to do with the actor.
Yeah.
Like imagine if like Bob Ferguson was not, you didn't have Leo in that role.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, no.
You'd hate him.
Leo's carrying.
Yeah.
And it's the connection with the daughter, isn't it? Everyone likes the dad trying to save his daughter and that kind of revenge style story. But yeah, interesting. It's definitely not the movie that people have been saying, in my opinion. I don't think it's.
But no, again, not bad. I do not think it's
not bad
at all.
Some parts of it are excellent.
Yeah,
but a lot of it is very flawed.